Welcome back, dear students. So, I welcome you all to the initiative of Let's Crack the Gate. Myself, Dhruv Saxena, your course instructor for the course on environmental engineering. Today, we'll be starting with our lecture 18. And before starting, just a quick recap of what we learned earlier. In the previous lecture, we learned various concepts with regards to sedimentation analysis, how we face the numericals, how different concepts we learned, how we apply different concepts. Then in the last lecture, we also learned about coagulation, various mixing techniques. We also practiced some numericals in which we applied the concepts through questions. So continuing with the previous lecture, let's start with a new topic for today, that is flocculation. So I request all of you to take out your notebooks and give a heading of flocculation. Okay. So let us first understand what do we mean by this term flocculation. Firstly, we need to revise or recap what do we understand by coagulation. So coagulation basically means to neutralize the charges to create a sticky gelatinous precipitate on which the suspended impurities can stick upon and finally sediment. Now flocculation is a process which enhances the opportunity of the suspended impurities and the sticky gelatinous precipitates that we are getting from the coagulants to come in close contact and make flocks together. Okay. Now, one of the major differences between coagulation and flocculation is with regards to the concept of mixing as well. In the previous lecture, when we were studying about the various mixing basins, so in that we learned that we calculated some temporal mean velocity gradient G that signified, what does it signified? It signified the relative velocity between two particles which are at a distance that is finite and known. So that value was around 300 per second, which was pretty high, and that is the reason we say that coagulation uses the process of fast mixing. And why the fast mixing was required? Fast mixing was required, if you can recall, to provide the energy so that minimum threshold energy is overcome and the negatively protective charges that are present on these impurities, they can be neutralized. In the flocculation, the concept we use is of slow mixing. Why? Because the mixing here doesn't require that much of agitation. Here we need the need is to give the opportunity to all the suspended impurities and those gelatinous precipitates to stick together to create flocks. Okay, so in this concept we learn some design values. There are one or two concepts that we need to understand, because based upon it multiple times questions are asked. Okay, so let us start with flocculation. Let us write some brief points for it. So let us please start writing. So flocculation, it is the process. It is the process in which neutralized particles in which neutralized particles are brought in intimate contact are brought in intimate contact I'm sorry for the disturbance. Seems like right now there are a lot of Air Force helicopters that are moving around at my place, so that noise might be coming. So just ignore it, please, and I regret the inconvenience. So coming back to it, that particles are brought in intimate contact, underline this term, with each other, which with each other so as to promote so as to promote their agglomeration, that is creation of flocks, which results in which results in increased size of particle which results in increased size of particle that can be easily settled that can be easily settled in the following sedimentation process. Okay, next point regarding slow mixing, please write that in order to increase the opportunity of particles to come in contact with each other to come in contact with each other, slow mixing is induced. Underline this term also. Slow mixing is induced in flocculation tank. Okay. Now let us see some of the factors that affect the rate of flocculation. So write down factors affecting rate of flocculation. So first one is your turbidity. Now if turbidity, what do we understand first of all? The amount of suspended solids that is there, or how did we learn the term turbidity? The ease with which we were able to see the clarity in water. So if the turbidity is high, what does it indicate? It indicates that there is a presence of suspended solids in a higher concentration. Now, how will it affect the rate of flocculation? If the suspended solids in a particular tank are more, their chances of coming together will be definitely more. So the rate will increase. So write down that higher turbidity leads to higher rate of flocculation. Higher rate of flocculation. Now next thing which affect is type and the dose of coagulants. Now if the dose is high, then again the chances will be higher because more of those sticky precipitates will be formed. And types we have discussed earlier, we discussed 4 types, and we learned that which ones are heavy, which ones are lighter. So that concepts also enables here as also. So if the flocks that are created due to this sticking of impurities on this precipitate, if they are by default heavy due to the type of coagulant, then the rate of flocculation will be more efficient. Okay. Next is the value of G. So for an optimum value of G, we observe a high rate of flocculation. So write down that at an optimum. See, if we increase the value of G to a very high extent, then again the process becomes inefficient. And if the value is very low, then again it is inefficient. So we calculate the optimum value. So at an optimum value of G, the rate of flocculation is maximum. Okay. Now with the next point, I will introduce a new term. Let us first write down, then we'll try to understand. So in flocculation, a parameter G times TD. G is your again the temporal mean velocity gradient, and TD is your time that you are providing, the detention time you are providing to the particular process. Okay. Now what does it represents? The multiplication of these two terms represents the conjugation opportunity. We'll understand what does this term mean using some examples. For right now, please write it. Conjugation opportunity, as it signifies the number of collision between the particles. See, now let us try to understand with an example. We will be seeing two cases for this combination. So for first case, let us say that the value of G is high, and for the second case, value of G is lower or less. So what will be the effect on type of flux that we see? Okay, just for reference, I am drawing a tank in which there are pedals, and you allow the rotation and the flocculation process is started. So for again, just an important reminder to all of you that when we are comparing a single parameter, other parameters will remain constant. Okay, so in this case we are taking a same amount of detention time when we are comparing the two G values. One G value is higher and one is lower. Now if the value of G is high, so what type of flux do you observe? Will the in comparison to dense and light flux, so whether the flux will be denser or lighter. What do you mean by dense? That they will be closely packed or loosely packed. See, try to visualize this tank. The rotor is moving. Now if the speed is fast, the velocity of its movement is fast, then definitely the particles will stick closer to each other because of the additional force. So can we say that dense flux will be observed? Okay, when the value of G is high, and based upon the similar understanding, when the value of G is less, so lighter flux are observed. Now let us consider a case for detention time as well. Now why I have taken these two cases only is because these are only most preferred uh, combinations that we use. We'll learn it later why it is preferred. So we need to understand these two concepts mainly. So now try to analyze what will happen if we change the value of detention time. Now for this, keep the value of G as same. Now if the time period that is available for the particles and precipitate to contact each other is less, then will we observe large flux or small flux? If the detention time is less, then the volume of the flux will be higher or lower. This is the question. So it is certain you can also visualize that if the particles get lesser time to interact with each other, then their size will be small, and if they get a lot of time for detention for interaction, then their size will be large. Okay, now what will be our preference? Since we have understood these two concepts, what type of flocks will you demand? You will definitely demand that if we are able to get large and dense flocks, then they will be the easiest to settle down. And if we get small and light flocks, then they will be the most difficult case. So with these two cases, we are able to understand all the different combinations. So what will you prefer? I hope the concepts are clear by now. So let us take down these points. Now before taking it, let us see that how we create large and dense flocks, because in either of these cases we are not able to get the large and dense flocks. So for that I am drawing a typical example. I am drawing a tank. This is your inlet and this is your outlet. We are trying to create here large and dense flocks. Okay, so for that, if we increase the detention time and value of G more, then the system becomes inefficient. Okay, for a single rotor. So what we do, we install two rotors instead. See, we have installed two rotors. They both will be rotating with different value of G's. Okay. Now here, instead of writing it as G value, we should write here the value of number of rotation of a number of rotations per minute for each of the rotors. So N1 and N2, these are one and rotor 1 and rotor 2. So what should we do to create large and dense flocks? So first of all, we can have a high power first rotor. So if the value of the power for the first rotor is higher, then definitely the velocity gradient, the mean velocity gradient G, the value of G will be higher for the first one. And if once the dense flocks are obtained, as you can see here, so when the value of G is higher, so dense flux will be obtained here. Okay. And in the next, as the water flows to the next rotor, these dense flux will convert into larger flux. So larger and more denser flux will be obtained. So in comparison to time that you will allow for each process, you can say that you will allow a little more time for the second rotor. Okay. So that larger and denser flux are obtained. So with this type of system, the overall efficiency of this process increases. The power required will be less to create larger and dense flocks, and it will be a much more efficient process. Okay, so write it down that in above tank, overall power required is less. Overall power required is less, and efficiency is more. Efficiency is more. Okay. Now let us write some points with this regard. I hope the concepts are clear. Since large dense flocks, large and dense flocks gets easily settled. Before taking notes, I would like to remind you. Let's first quickly have a recap what we have learned. I understand based upon my experience that when I teach this concept even in my class, many students stay in a little confusion. So let us again see this. So why we have taken firstly these two cases only, because these cases are considered efficient. Okay, because we have to not only consider the output quality, but we need to also consider the economics behind it, whether the process is economical or not. So these two processes are comparatively similar in terms of economical aspect, also the power required. Okay, now what I have taken the first case, that keeping the detention time constant, I've changed the values for g, that is the velocity gradient. Now I observed that when the value of g is higher, that is the relative velocity of particles is higher for a distance, then they attach a little closer and we gain dense flocks. But when we reduce the value of g, then we obtain lighter flocks. Next, we tried to change the time period given to the this process for the same value of g. So we obtained that for a lesser time available for interaction, we observe small flocks are created, and for a higher time, larger time, then large flocks are created. We then understood that none of these will provide the solution for our desired output. Okay, so for that, what I did, I placed two rotors. You can place them in a single tank, or you can also place them in two different tanks consecutively. So what was my requirement? I know that if the flocks are larger in size and denser in size, if there is increase in density, then value of specific gravity of that flock will increase. And if they are large, then the dia will increase. So any of the increase will increase the settling velocity, which will finally increase the sedimentation efficiency. So what I did, that I placed these two rotors. The water is flowing from the inlet towards outlet. So in the first one, you can see I've written as N1 and N2. These are the rotation per minute values for each of the rotors. For the first one, I've kept it at a higher value. Why? Because I need firstly denser flocks. The initially I need dense flocks. So I have kept the P1 value higher than P2. So power I have given more here. Once the value of P is more, definitely the relative velocity gradient will also be higher. So G1 value is more. And in terms of time given, I have given more time to second rotor. So what we obtained with this process, we were able to obtain large and dense flocks. So now let us take notes for this. So since large and dense flocks gets easily settled in the sedimentation tank, in the sedimentation tank, it is advantageous advantageous to vary the value of g along the length of the flocculation tank. Okay, along the length of the flocculation tank. Next point, small dense flocks Small dense flocks formed in the initial section of tank combines with large flocks. Large, you can write large and light flocks, that will be much better. So large light flocks formed in subsequent section formed in subsequent section subsection of tank which has less value of with less value of G and more detention time. Okay, it results in it results in formation of large dense flocks which can get easily settled which can get easily settled. Now let us take some design values. Just note down the values. So G at the inlet section, G at the inlet is kept to be kept at twice the value of G at the outlet section. Okay, G inlet by your G outlet factor is 2. Next, the depth of tank is equal to 3 to 3.5 meters. The detention period is recommended between 10 to 30 minutes. Velocity of flow is equals to 0.2 to 0.8 meter per seconds. Then the value of G is in the range of 0 to 75 per second. Next, the area of pedals. So the area of pedals is around 10 to 25% area of the tank. Next, the value of G into TD is between 20,000 to 60,000 for coagulant alum, and this value is between 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs for iron salts. Okay, now the next heading, please put now we need to learn that how do we calculate that what will be the value of capital G. So calculation of G, the temporal mean velocity gradient. Temporal mean velocity gradient. Now I'll be using some basic concepts of physics that we have learned in our school time. Okay. Now draw this diagram. This is our rotor shaft. These are your pedals. Okay. This is your width of the pedal. This is the radius. Okay. This is your value of n, that is the rotations per minute value. Vp is your velocity of pedals. Okay. Then Vw is your velocity of flow, velocity of water. Okay. And the force that will be generated by the movement of this pedal and shaft is the drag force. So what we need to calculate, we will try to find the value of capital G in terms of these forces and velocities that is known to us. Okay. So how to calculate? See, first of all, in the previous lesson we learned that the value of G we calculate by P by mu V, where P was your power, mu was your viscosity, and V was the volume. So we will use the same thing. Now here the value of P will be given by what is the, how do we obtain the amount of power, or how do we quantify? We multiply the force by velocity. Okay. So in our case, the relative force is multiplied by the relative velocity here. Here the relative velocity is the difference of velocity between the velocity of pedal and the flow velocity or velocity of water, you can say here. Okay. And your drag force is given by half times drag coefficient multiplied by density of water, then your area multiplied by your square of relative velocity. Okay. Now what is the area of these pedals? So area of these pedals is n is number of pedals multiplied by b times l. This is your, this will give your area, okay, of these pedals. Next, this is omega. Omega is your angular velocity, and we can calculate it from the rotations per minute value. How we'll do it? It is calculated as 2 pi n by 60. Multiplying it by 2 pi n by 2 pi by 60, it will convert the value of n into the angular velocity value. Now this angular velocity value will be useful to further calculate the velocity of pedals. How do we calculate, or how do we convert the angular velocity in terms of this velocity or terminal velocity? So we can calculate it by multiplying the angular velocity by the radius. Okay. Now using all these values, let us put them together. So in this case, the relative force is your drag force only. So let's multiply these two terms. So it gives half times CD rho W multiplied by this area of pedal multiplied by VR cube. Okay, now from this we will put in all these values into this equation that we have learned in the previous lecture, that G, your velocity gradient, is equal to root of P by mu V. So let us obtain the value of G. Write this expression. VR cube by mu times V. Okay. Now for this case, if the value of CD is not given, generally it is given, but there might be chances that in objective type questions the value of CD is not given and still you are asked the value of G. So you can assume the value of CD or drag coefficient as 1.8. This value is, although it is approximate, but it is valid for the flocculation process. It is valid for flocculation. Okay. So based upon it, let us try to solve a numerical. Please write down a flocculation chamber. First write down the question. A flocculation chamber is 30 meters long and 12 meters wide and has a depth of 4.5 meter, is to treat 75 mld of water. It is equipped with 12-meter long. These are the dimensions of pedals. 12-meter long and 0.5-meter wide pedals supported parallel to each other, supported parallel to each other and moved by 4 horizontal shafts. So your number n is also given. So 4 horizontal shafts are used which rotate at the speed of 2.5 rotations per minute. The center line of the pedals is 1.8 meters. The center line of the pedals is 1.8 meters from the shaft. Which is at mid depth, of the tank. Two pedals are mounted. Two pedals are mounted upon each shaft. Two pedals are mounted upon each shaft, one opposite to each other. If mean velocity of water is one fourth the velocity of pedal. Okay, one fourth the velocity of pedal, and kinematic viscosity is given, and kinematic viscosity is 1.31 times 10 to the power minus 6 meters square per second. Find power consumption. Find the power consumption of tank, time of flocculation, time of flocculation, and the value of G. Okay, so we have to find out all these terms. I hope you have taken down this problem. If you have, if you haven't taken down, then please pause the video and take down this video, all the data which has been given in the question. In the previous lecture also I told you that I generally take up some big questions which contain a lot of concepts. With why is it so? Because you don't know what might be asked. Many times questions asked me generally for university or midterms, sir, what is the important section? What are the important questions? See, just for your university or midterms, that I understand that we faculties are preparing, but for GATE I am not preparing the paper. And the faculties or the persons who are preparing the GATE exam question paper have given you the syllabus, and the syllabus contains all these topics. So the question of whether it is important or not is a very vague question. It is not a very good question. So you need to cover each and everything to score well in GATE exam. Even during my preparation, I covered all these topics rigorously. The most important part plays is revision, because there will be a number of subjects. There are more than 10 subjects itself in civil engineering, plus mathematics also we need to cover, plus a little bit focus on aptitude and English also. So covering all these topics is a task in itself. Okay, now let us try to solve this problem. Okay, various values are given. I hope you have taken down. Now we'll proceed. We'll simply use the relations that we have obtained above. You can try to solve this problem by yourself. Pause this video, try to solve based upon the relations that we have just learned. Okay, post the answers in the comment or write it in your notebook, and then we'll solve it. Okay, by then I'll take a short water break. Okay, so I hope you have solved this problem. Now let us begin. So firstly, what is asked? The power consumption for the tank is asked. So the power consumption was given by the value drag force multiplied by the relative velocity. We know that the value of relative velocity is the difference between velocity of pedals and velocity of water. Now a relation is given to us that velocity of water is 1 by 4th of your velocity of pedals. So we can use that relation. Okay. Also the value of n is given, so we can find out the value of omega by this relation 2 pi n by 60. So your value of W comes out to be 2 into pi times 2.5 multiplied by 60. So let us calculate it. Take out your calculators. So the value comes out to be 0.261 radians per second. Okay. Now we can calculate the value of pedal, velocity of pedals using this. It will be W into R. What is the value of R given here? See, the center line of the pedals is 1.8 meters from the shaft. So this is the value that we need to use. 1.8 meters is the distance of center line from the pedals. This is your value of R. So 0.261 times 1.8 gives you 0.47 meters per second. Okay, and with this you can also find out the value of VW. It comes out to be, or directly rather, uh, this is your VP. You can directly find out the value of relative velocity. It will be 0.353 meters per second. Okay, now let's move on ahead. Let's try to find the value of drag force. So drag force is given by half times drag coefficient multiplied by density of water multiplied by area of pedals multiplied by VR square. Okay, now here as you can see in the question the value of drag coefficient is not given, so I will assume it to be 1.8. The density of water is 1000. The area we can calculate. How will we calculate? See, it is given here. Uh, yeah, the pedals are 12-meter long and 0.5 meters wide. So we'll use this value 0.3 times 12. Now there are two pedals on each shaft and there are total number of 4 shafts. So we'll multiply this value 2 into 4. I'll repeat. There are two number of pedals on each shaft. It is given in the question. We need to take these values, consider them very seriously, because if MCQ comes on this, then all the values will be given and you can directly get confused and take on the wrong option. And 4 is the number of total shafts that are placed. So multiplied by the value of square of VR. So it is 0.353 square. So please calculate this value, how much it comes out to be. Okay, I hope you have calculated also. So it value turns out to be 3229.8 newtons. Now to calculate the power, we'll multiply this FD to the value of VR. Okay, so we obtain this much watts, 1111.2. So this is your second answer. I hope it is very clear. Problem is very simple. You just need to understand the concept. Okay. Next, we need to calculate the value of detention time. So detention time value can be calculated by dividing the volume by the discharge. So it is given that the tank is 30 meters long, 12 meters wide, and the depth is 4.5 meters. And the value of discharge is given as, the discharge is given as 75 75 mld of water. So what I'll do, I'll 70 put in the values and I will convert it into meter cubes. So this is your 75 million liters. Now multiply it by, or rather, yeah, 10 to the minus 3. It will convert it into meter cube. Then to convert this into seconds or minutes, we can convert. It will be much more convenient. So 24 hours multiplied by 60 minutes. This will give us the value in minutes for the detention time. So please calculate it. So this comes out to be 31.1 minutes. Now next, the value of G can be calculated using the relation P by mu V. Let's put in the values. Now see here carefully which value is given to us. We have been provided with kinematic viscosity. Okay, 1.31 into 10 to the minus 6. Now we know that in this relation we use mu, which is the dynamic viscosity. So I will multiply the density of this fluid, that is water, to get the value of dynamic viscosity. The value of density of water is 10 to the 3, that is 1000. Now multiply it by the volume of the tank, which is 30 into 12 into 4.5. This will give you the value of G. It comes out to be 22.8 per second. So this is how you solve the various problems with regards to flocculators. Okay. So with this, I will end today's lecture and we'll start the topic of filtration in the next lecture. It is a very important topic. We'll be discussing different type of filtration processes. For example, gravity filters, then your pressure filters. The most important being the gravity filters, which include slow sand filter and rapid sand filters. We need to understand various things, various concepts. There are a lot of concepts, so don't miss the lecture. If you haven't watched the previous lectures, furnish it by now. I will be sharing some more questions in the Telegram group. If you haven't joined, join it right now by using the link given in the description box. And there is also a Google form link somewhere in the description box. Please register yourself. We need to find that how many and from which institutes, which places students are viewing our lectures. It will be very motivating for us, and also through the emails that you put in, we will be providing you some additional things, additional materials there. So please register that Google form also, fill in the details. The most important thing for that is that we will be registering all of you for the upcoming mock test for GATE 2022. So that's all for today's lecture. Have a good day, stay safe. Jai Hind.